Hello and welcome to another plant talk. This time we're featuring the demure marjoram, Oregano marjorana. Before we get into talking about this lovely plant, I want to wish you a beautiful full moon. We're coming off the full moon and today is the first day of September. So really nice mid to starting into late summer energy, and marjoram has a bit of that feeling, and we'll get into that later. With like all these plant talks, we have featuring the plant, its growing habits, talk about the essential oil and its affinities and where it shines, and of course there's some poems that I'll share at the end to further give character to enhance the character of the plant. So I think many folks know oregano or oregano, oil of oregano. It's really popular. Marjoram, I feel, is the yin to the yang of the oregano. So in the common name, we're talking about sweet marjoram. The common name, sweet marjoram, I'm just pausing because the sweet's important because there's many oreganos, and marjoram is Oregano marjorana. And that's not to be confused with oregano or Oreganum vulgare or several others. And you'll see in my Plant Talk article and several other writings about marjoram how can be a lot of confusion. And part of that confusion actually happens because this plant is in the lip flower family, the Lamiaceae family. You know, it's cousins with rosemary and lavender, and like similar growing conditions. This is a tender annual in many locations such as Long Island or France, Germany, and it's from the Mediterranean basin, and it really thrives in the calcareous, the limestoney, dry, well-draining soil, and it really likes sun and heat a lot. And back to the family, that family likes to readily cross-hybridize. That's just what it does. You'll see behind me there's spearmint also in that family. This is a really, this died back a bit, Kent oregano. It's an ornamental oregano. Next to me is helichrysum. That's in a different plant family, but we'll talk about blending. But there's a cross hybridization because the insects go and pollinate. So you'll start to get all these different naturally occurring varietals within the plant family. So you'll see in the article that it can go by, there's several different oreganos. But this is particularly a sweet marjoram, and I think it's an underappreciated aromatic in aromatherapy. It's very sweet and gentle and lovely. It has a bit of a spicy aroma, so that might be off-putting for people. But if we can really get to embrace it's where it shines, it could be a really beautiful plant to have in your life. Now this is very tender. It is a tender annual here. It will die off. It doesn't grow to be very tall. It, even though it likes dry conditions, it will dry out readily. This one got a bit abused because it didn't get water enough, and there was some dieback. But here is the plant, and it's known for its little knotted tops, little knots. They look like little knots before they bloom. And one thing about the essential oil is it's most readily in the leaf. And to get the most gorgeous essential oil, we will try to take the tops that have not yet flowered yet, because the oil production is focused on, you know, in the leaf. And once it starts to put energy into the flower, energy is directed there. And one thing that's interesting, like most essential oils, the plant will be harvested and then slightly dried to get rid of the water content to increase the oil. And generally, it really differs on location and season, but it's about a 1% yield of essential oil. So it's a lot of plant material, an overall good yield, but it depends. So I mentioned where it likes to grow. So if you choose to have a marjoram plant to get to know it, don't put it with your spearmint that likes more water. Make sure it's well drained, gets lots and lots and lots of sun. So it would be nice to be planted near helichrysum or lavender or rosemary, who really need good drainage, lots of sun. Yeah, that's basically it. Treat it very nicely let me see, I have written here, its common name is knotted marjoram, which nods to the unopened buds, so I was showing that. It's just such a soft, soft plant, and when you look at it, it is more demure, little, diminutive, quiet, and that's the energy of it. I will go into that now, just the personality of the oil before getting into essential oil characteristics. When I spend time with this is a great restorative relaxant. It's quite gentle overall. It reminds me of bringing a sense of wonderment and childlikeness to, that's its persona, and that can lend itself to someone that's working with the essential oil to bring that childlike wonderment. I wrote here, it helps you go inward and access your inner child, softening the sharp edges of a tight, overthinking adult mind. It's gently fortifying for the nervous system. And then, like most essential oils, like many, especially in this family, it is a nervine. It works very beautifully with the nervous system. And to get onto some affinity highlights, so where can you really apply this essential oil particularly, or maybe you cook with it, definitely cook with it, make a tea. I have a recommendation here. So it's known for several things, like most essential oils. It crosses body systems, etc. It's overall warming and calming, hypotensive. You might consider blending this with ginger for if you have cold extremities, cold in the body, cold damp in the body. It would be really nice to start moving, circulating, bringing blood, activity gently. And then it's more indicated for wet conditions because it is overall warm and drying. It shines, this is why we cook with it, right? It's a digestive, it's a carminative and antispasmodic. So many of the plants help us with peristalsis, getting rid of gas, like integrating food to help move it through. And I have here, I was thinking about this, you can blend the oils or maybe make a tea from the actual plant material with, I was thinking angelica root and lemon balm or melissa. And melissa is in the same family. I have a lot growing in the back, I didn't bring any, but it's really nice for digestion. You can also include a little chamomile in there, would be nice to soothe and smooth out, to expel, to integrate and expel. If you want to work with this topically, digestively, you can smell it. That's, I think, one of the best ways. But when you want to think about, you can make a stomach rub, but honestly, smelling is the best way to get things going. You can combine that with the ginger or maybe the angelica root and smell to get it moving, because this does work. That's how essential oils work. Musculoskeletal, it is known to be a warming analgesic. So general aches and pains, including getting into arthritis, osteoarthritis. Ginger, if you need the heat, if there's a lot of cold stillness that needs activity brought. If you have a lot of inflammation, rheumatoid arthritis, or maybe just you have bruising too. This is indicated for bruising. You can combine that with helichrysum, definitely, to help. I also have here for general aches and pains, don't forget about our friend spike lavender. In the same family, very, very lovely botanical for aches and pains and helping us that way. Also, don't discount for spastic spasms, pain, arthritis, Roman chamomile. You can blend as well. Very lovely. Let me see. I have next, nervous system. I already mentioned this is a wonderful nervine, like so many essential oils are. This really shines. Nerve tonic, just it's really for tension and to support that childlike wonderment. Clinging on, heat, tension, and you need to expel it and sigh relief. And just envision that letting go and being outside by the ocean, in the mountains, carefree, running free. That is what marjoram can bring. So any kind of tension that would benefit from that personality of the plant. So I have written here, general stress, insomnia, agitation. This does shine for working to support the insomnia. Before I was just smelling it with jasmine, which I never thought to combine, but jasmine can be really nice to help for an end of the day into the nighttime blend to soothe. So I was thinking of supporting the nervous system, true lavender, blend it with any of the chamomiles, but especially Roman chamomile. If you want to bring a little uplift with the calm, you can think of clary sage. And then if you want to have this childlike freedom and joy, you could start, and you want the clarity, you can maybe blend with rosemary. You can grow them next to each other. Maybe you want to put clary sage and rosemary and lavender and marjoram in one pot. And you can think of blending that way by gardening. You can blend when you garden. Cypress, rosemary, and bergamot are some, I was thinking, for some clarity, as well as just general stress and tension. And I'm just thinking that sun really moves so quickly, doesn't it? I was trying to stay out of the sun. But there you go. Let me see. I want to share some notes from the article. Oh, again, this is indicated for so much. The respiratory system, it is antispasmodic, as it is for the digestive tract. So wet spastic coughs, it's really indicated for that. It's also an antimicrobial, especially antibacterial, like most essential oils are, and antiviral. Not all viruses, but it's known to have some antiviral activity. So think of like a bronchial bronchitis, an itis, a wet and mucousy infection. Reproductive, this is an important part. Menstrual cramping, I'll just read this, indicated for dysmenorrhea, menstrual cramps, herpes simplex. Sweet marjoram is considered to be an anaphrodisiac, so anti-sex drive, but I have some thoughts to share about that. I wrote here, tempers impulses. For aches and pains, as before, blend with true or spike lavender, helichrysum, Roman chamomile to balance the stress, ease the cramping, just nerves that are on edge. Let's see. This is where I want to get into this thought on anaphrodisiac, the anti-sex drive. Oh, there's an osprey. If you heard that, there's the tee. So I have written here, true to its common name, sweet marjoram is indeed sweet, but more complex than that. It is hot stones on a coastal mountainside during the height of summer or midsummer here, when a soft and slightly cool breeze sighs off the sea, just as one is happening today. It's very nice. The hurricanes that were really stirring things up have gone away, and there's a bit of an aftermath here. The aromas conjure images of youth, but marjoram tempers the idiocy of youth rather than invoking tempers the idiocy of youth. It rather invokes innocence and wonder. And that's important because when I've sat with this oil, when I'm with it, it's not so much about anti-sex drive. It's about going inward, childish qualities, sense of wonder, and tempering. Just think of a young male driving recklessly on a motorcycle, like tempering that impulse to not even think before acting, just to not even go there, not even have it occur to you to be that bold and reckless. So that's this quality of marjoram. Now you'll see in the article that's associated with this video many essential oil blending ideas to consider. And when you smell it, it is just so soft and sweet and calming. And you can even integrate this into blends for children. It can be very lovely in small amounts. Of course, with children, you're working at low dilution rates anyway, but having touch the plant, smell your fingers. It's just really, really beautiful. I try to have it with me every year because it just brings me a lot of joy. The name Joy of the Mountains, it's just, you look at it and it's innocence. It's innocent. Let me try to get that in the sunlight. Just absolutely cute. So on to the poem. And for that, I'm going to take I have the marjoram on a scent strip, but I was really enjoying having it with jasmine, which I'm going to add that to the notes for overall anxiety. I think it's very lovely. I mean, it blends so well with the other botanicals in the lip flower family, and also getting into the aster family. This really shines with helichrysum. And I want to have a little bit of this jasmine. Ooh. A lot of jasmine just came out, which is unfortunate. I'll have to keep this with me in my office. So I have 2 poems I'd like to share. After combing through poetry online, so many great resources. There is, I'll read it and then just a couple things to share about it in relation. This is by Sally Dawn Ibbotson. The poem is called Time of Metal. Grief arrives like a mist across the fields. Bees brave the morning chill to work the last of the marjoram. The surprise swallow nest above the shop door is empty. There's a metal taste in my mouth. It's like the tea I used to get from the Friends stall at my local hospital, left overstewed. Late summer throws her gifts at us with outrageous generosity. Plenty beyond reason, harvest beyond measure. And there's a note from the poet that in Oriental medicine, autumn is the season most associated with the element of metal, and late summer is associated with the element of earth. And with this being September 1st, we're in mid to getting into late summer, and it's such a joyful time when things cool down, but there's still a lot of activity, a lot of bees and bugs and insects being really busy and doing their thing. Late summer throws her gifts at us with outrageous generosity. It's a beautiful line. So I'm going to read a note I have here. This is mid to late summer and finally felt right to do this video. Late summer is warm and golden and soft and a little forgiving, a little more forgiving than July and August. It's a little less exhausting. And marjoram, although warming, is a rather delicate plant. It's much less bossy than oregano, but it still is powerful in its own way. Oregano, as I said before, it's very yang, active, really heating, and marjoram is a little bit more yin, a little more playful, innocence, wonderment. It supports the parasympathetic functioning, which aligns with smoothing digestion, balanced reproductive health, all the things we need to thrive. So instead of being so hot and active like oregano, we can kind of, even though it's warming, has this kind of sense of cooling by really supporting the parasympathetic nervous system. It's as I joked in classes, it's a gentle killer. It's a really nicely antibacterial, antiviral. It kills with a smile. So the next poem is by Syndey Queen, and it's called Bee Stings. Just a few notes on that after. Your rapture is infectious, genuine, and unconditional. You are endearing in a way that is physically painful to me. I adore you like a wildfire. Your eyes have been shaped like a laugh since noon. Everything is viscid with the scent of your youth, sycamore marjoram, tattered baseball gloves, and a whisper of burning wood. I'm a little in love with all of it. Summer digs its way into my veins. You dissolve into a splendid and fearless laugh. It's dripping with a sort of ferocious, tranquil calm. One of my hands is a promise, the other is a secret, and darling, they are identical. I have been missing you as long as I have known you. God, the more I read this poem again and again, it's marjoram. Youth, whisper of burning wood, there's this soft quality of, I think of dry heat, like wood, a splendid and fearless laugh, ferocious, tranquil, calm. Oh my gosh. Let me see, and the poet's note is an open letter to everyone I have ever loved. And then my notes, Marjoram is considered an aphrodisiac. It inhibits lustiness. It can be stupefying if overused. Like with most essential oils, it can have the opposite effect of what you want, but it could be just a bit too much. So this is why it could be indicated. It is slightly sedative, but it could just be too much and be a bit stupefying and dulling. And that's part of the anaphrodisiac part, is the dulling quality if overused. Marjoram offers an antidote to teenage lust and angst, and like I described before, just the tempestuous impulse, you know. On the opposite, I say it fosters self-contentment. And again, childlike wonder running along the seaside with a ocean breeze in early September. Let me see. I just wrote here, summer, all I have ever loved, carefree summer romance, smiles, bare skin, late day sun, summer's end. So that's the plant talk with Sweet Marjoram. The marjoram, I had another one, it died unfortunately because it didn't get enough water. So remember, the marjoram is delicate. It can be a perennial depending on where it grows. I think for, if you're up in the northeast of the United States or in the Midwest, you're going to have it tender annual, and just try to love it every year. Get a couple plants, grow them by seed, and have fun. So thanks for spending time with me and Sweet Marjoram, another plant talk. And as I said in previous, when plant talk started in 2020, love yourself, love the plants, and ciao for now. Thank you. Bye.